Hey guys, welcome back to the BMW Blog YouTube channel and welcome to another day with the BMW iX M60, top of the line electric car from BMW with some M bits here and there. In this video, I'm going to talk about what I like about the car and I'm going to tell you what I don't like about the car. So with that being said, let's go and take a look. Yeah, that's not going to work. Yeah, so that's one thing that I don't like about the BMW iX. It does not have a frunk. There is a lot of space here. Of course, they could have probably repackaged things a little bit. They should have offered a front trunk in the BMW iX, not because you use it all the time. I barely use it in my BMW i3, but because people want it. People want something, you should try to give it to them, because all the other electric cars are doing the same thing. They're offering a front trunk, or at least majority of them, and I think the BMW iX M60 should have one as well. Now let me show you what a $100,000 car should have. It should have an electric retractable trunk cover. I mean, this is great for like 10 years ago, but honestly, if I'm paying this much for an iX, I wish it had the retractable mechanism. You have one in the X5, but you don't have one in the BMW iX. It would have been so useful in order to be able to store more things without taking this whole thing off. It would have been nice if it was an electric mechanism that would just roll this inside the trunk and you have a lot more room without having to, do this. And then, I don't know, this, I don't know, it just doesn't seem very premium to me, but that's just a smaller noise maybe to me, maybe not to everyone. So before I talk about one of my favorite things inside the BMW iX, let me tell you a quick story. The iX, it's actually built on a bespoke electric architecture. So compared to the i4, the i5, and the i7, the interior packaging is a lot better. You can see right here, because there is a lack of a transmission tunnel, you have a lot more legroom, a lot more interior space, and a lot more cargo space. You can store things right there, and then of course you have these huge foot wells right there, which makes it very, very comfortable for long drives. Overall, it reminds me of the BMW i3, because that car, even though it was quite small in size, it was extremely spacious inside. Because it's not a conversion platform or a flexible platform, as BMW calls it. There is no need to have an engine bay at the front, so you can push things all the way back there, and therefore you can see how roomy the interior cabin really is. So that's one of the positives of the BMW iX compared to other electric BMWs. All right, so another thing that I like in the BMW iX, even though I know some people don't really like this, it's the hexagonal shape of the steering wheel. Of course, it does look quirky and a little bit weird. It has a flat bottom right here, which makes sliding in and out of the car a lot easier for somebody like me that's on the taller side. You can see if there was a round shape here, I would have a harder time trying to get in and out of the car. So to me, this particular shape works quite well. So one thing that I've talked about quite a bit in all my previous videos with new BMWs is the fact that now you have the iDrive 8 and 8.5, which comes with a lot of digital touches, but less physical buttons. As you can see right here, everything has moved digitally inside the iDrive system. And while 8.5, it's a little bit more responsive and a little bit easier to use than 8, it's still not ideal. It's always easier to have physical buttons down here, switches, and I was recently in a BMW Z4 and I absolutely forgot how easy it is to control everything through some switches and buttons right there. Unfortunately, that's the direction that BMW is going towards too. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, and because of that, you have all these things that now you have to adjust, as you can see, via touch, and it's not as easy. Of course, you can do this. I mean, there's some shortcuts that you can play around with, but nonetheless, it will never be as easy as having something down here, a physical button, or on the steering wheel. So that goes in the column of cons for the BMW iX M60. On the same note of removing physical buttons, I just wish BMW would have used the window defrosting button switches right here and replaced that with a heated steering wheel feature and also with a heated seats feature. A lot easier to just activate them right there instead of having the window defrost, which maybe we don't use it as much as the other features. All right, so I'm having a love and hate relationship with the interior of the iX, because overall, I absolutely like it. I love it actually, but there are a few things, quirks here and there that bother me a little bit. One of them it's the ergonomics of the cup holders. I mean, you can put them right there, but in order to access them, you kind of have to get your hand around there. If you want to reach a second one, it's not that easy. I mean, you can try from both sides. As you can see, a little bit cumbersome, a little bit strange. So I just wish they did a better job with the cup holders placement because, you know, we're in the US and we love our cup holders. Another thing that I'm not a fan of, even though I enjoy this space here because no transmission tunnel and all of that, we've talked about it, it's the fact that this arrangement here, it's a bit weird. Aside from the cup holders, you have the wireless charging right here, but I would have used this space maybe for storage space because you have this floating design right here and then this unusable space, which kind of feels like you could have had a nice cubby in there to store a lot more things than, you know, the single storage space that you have there. So small annoyance, but something that maybe I wish BMW would have done a little bit better. Now, one thing that I absolutely love in the BMW iX, it's the sound. The Bowers & Wilkins, in my opinion, it's the best sound system that BMW offers today. If I recall correctly, around 32 speakers spread around the car. There are 2 of them even in the headrest, and they sound something like this. I've talked about this in my longer video review. If you missed that, I'm gonna leave it in the description below. But essentially, I am 6'3" tall, about 1.9 meters tall, and I feel like the seats in the BMW iX, they're not extended enough for my height. As you can see, there is no extension for the thigh support like some other BMW SUVs and even sports cars have it, and this one does not. So I just wish that they would have an option to extend it or maybe make the seat a little bit longer. Of course, that might not play out very well with shorter people, but I would say if you're on the average side to the tall side, I think you would enjoy having a little bit more thigh support. The other thing that I'm not a fan of are the actual seats. They're not very sporty. I mean, this is an iX M60, top of the line M-Tune car, and the seats are more on the comfortable side. They're quite flat as far as the design. You can see there is not a lot of side bolster support here or there as well. You can play around with the settings and make them a little bit tighter, a little bit firmer, but overall you slide quite a bit in them. I mean, if you drive on the dynamic side because you got 600 horsepower, so you want to go fast, you will notice that you will slide a lot more than any other BMW. So I just wish the seats were more on the sporty side, or at least offer the customers an option to buy the sport seats if they want to have them in the BMW iX M60 especially. So this is probably my biggest pet peeve with the BMW iX M60, the seats, and you will notice them or the lack of the thigh support if you go on longer drives. One of the pros of the car, it's really the performance. 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds and a little bit over 600 horsepower. Let's see what it can do. So those are some of the quirks and features, pros and cons, whatever you want to call them in the BMW iX. They are not major things that should bother you. They're just little annoyances that I've noticed as I was driving the car and living with the car on a daily basis. But let me know in the comments below which one is the thing that maybe bothers you the most on the BMW iX M60. Until next time.